Dive watches have a problem. The good ones are supposed to cost a fortune. At least that's what the industry wants you to believe. Rolex Submariner, 4 figures minimum if you can even find one. Omega Seamaster, same story. But here's what nobody tells you. The engineering that makes a dive watch genuinely functional doesn't require a luxury price tag. Today we're counting down 5 dive watches that are built for the water, respected by enthusiasts, and priced for the real world. Stay until number 1 because that watch is the one collectors point to when someone asks what to buy first. Let's get into it. Number 5. Casio MDV 106. The Casio MDV 106. Quartz movement, under $50. And before you click away, this watch has earned its reputation honestly, and it deserves 5 minutes of your time. The MDV 106 is a 40-fee Chamonix diver-styled watch that Casio has been quietly producing for years without fanfare, without hype, and without apology. The dial is clean and direct, Pav-Hausti. Bold hour markers, high contrast hands, a date window at 3 o'clock, and luminous coding that actually works in low light. The unidirectional bezel rotates with enough resistance to be functional and enough smoothness to not frustrate. Water resistance is rated to 200 meters, not 50, not 100, 200 meters on a watch that costs less than a dinner for 2. Casio doesn't advertise this loudly enough. For anyone who actually spends time in or around water and doesn't want to spend their dive watching their investment, the MDV 106 is a completely legitimate tool. The mineral crystal will scratch. The bracelet is basic. The quartz movement ticks rather than sweeps. None of these are surprises at this price, and none of them change the fundamental reality of what this watch delivers. Reliable timekeeping, genuine water resistance, and a legible diver's dial that does exactly what a diver's dial is supposed to do. Casio's quality control at this price point is remarkable. This watch ships ready to wear, functions without complaint, and absorbs the kind of daily abuse that would make you nervous with something more expensive. At around $30 to $50, the MDV 106 is not the watch you talk about at a collector's meetup. It's the watch you actually wear to the beach, the pool, the boat, and the reef without a single moment of hesitation. That has real value. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Number 4. Orient Mako. Watu. The Casio and the conversation changes entirely. The Orient Mako 2 is where serious value begins to look like something you'd be proud to call your primary watch. Orient is owned by Seiko's parent group. That matters. It means the manufacturing standards, the quality control, and the engineering philosophy behind the Mako 2 are rooted in the same Japanese watchmaking tradition that produces some of the most respected movements on the planet. Orient just charges less for the privilege. The Mako 2 runs a 41.5mm stainless steel case with a profile that is immediately recognizable as a purpose-built diver. The unidirectional bezel has real ratchet action, deliberate, positive clicks with no backplay. The dial is legible without overthinking it. Large luminous markers, bold hands, and a date window that doesn't crowd the overall layout. Water resistance is 200 meters. ISO 64425 dive certification. This watch is not playing at being a diver. It is one. The movement is the story. The Orient Caliber F6922 is an in-house automatic with hand winding and hacking. At this price point, around $150 to $180, those two features are almost unheard of from a manufacturer of this caliber. Hand winding means you can top up the power reserve without wearing the watch. Hacking means the second's hand stops when you pull the crown, allowing you to set the time with precision. These are not luxury features. These are basic watchmaking done right, and most brands at this price skip them entirely. The bracelet is solid. The clasp is secure. The overall build quality communicates something that cheap watches cannot fake: substance. The Orient Mako 2 is the watch that makes the jump from fashion accessory to mechanical instrument. For $180, that jump is worth every dollar. Number 3. Seiko 5 Sports SRPD 5T Million. The Seiko 5 Sports relaunched in 2019 and immediately reminded the watch world why Seiko doesn't need to shout to command attention. The SRPD 5T1, the red and black Coke bezel variant, Malfki, arrived looking like nothing else in its price range and has stayed relevant every year since. The 42.5mm cushion case gives the SRPD51 a presence on the wrist that is hard to describe in specs alone. The case shape is distinctive, not round, not square, but somewhere in between with a character that is entirely its own. The red and black ceramic bezel insert is crisp and well executed. The black dial is layered with a texture that shifts under light, revealing depth that photographs consistently fail to capture. The 4R36 movement inside is a proven Seiko workhorse, automatic, hand-winding, hacking, 41-hour power reserve. The display case back shows you the rotor in motion, which at this price point feels like a genuine bonus rather than an afterthought. Day and date at 3 o'clock, everything where it should be. Water resistance is 100 meters, honest daily wear territory, sensible for pool use, appropriate for beach conditions. Not a professional diver, but not pretending to be one either. The Seiko 5 Sport sits comfortably in the sports watch category without overstating its dive credentials. The stainless steel bracelet wears well and adjusts easily. The overall finishing, brushed flanks, polished bevels on the case, punches above what the price suggests. And the price, around $250 to $300. For a Japanese automatic with hand-winding, hacking, display case back, and a dial that genuinely turns heads. That number is not just fair. It's one of the best value propositions in watches right now. The SRPD 5T1 is the watch that makes new collectors realize they've been looking in the wrong direction. Once you see it in person, the conversation stops being about price and starts being about which colorway. Number 2. Citizen Promaster Marine BN0150. Citizen doesn't get the credit it deserves. When people talk about Japanese watchmaking value, Seiko takes the headline. But Citizen has been producing technically accomplished, field-ready watches for decades, and the Promaster Marine BN0150 is the clearest argument for why that oversight needs to end. The BN0150 is a 44mm diver built around Citizen's EcoDrive technology. For those unfamiliar, EcoDrive is a solar-powered quartz movement that converts any light source into energy and stores it in a power cell. No battery changes, no winding, no power reserve anxiety. Expose this watch to light regularly and it will run for months in complete darkness on a stored charge. That is not a gimmick. That is an engineering solution to one of the most practical problems in everyday watch ownership, and Citizen has been perfecting it for decades. The case is stainless steel with a solid tool watch build quality. The unidirectional bezel has a polyurethane insert, grippy, durable, and purpose-appropriate. The dial is a masterclass in legibility. Large luminous markers, high contrast hands, and a layout that reads instantly in poor light conditions. This is the kind of dial design that happens when engineers, not just designers, have a say in the outcome. Water resistance is rated to 200 meters with ISO 6425 dive certification, screw-down crown, anti-reflective sapphire crystal. The BN0150 checks every technical box a serious dive watch needs to check. The rubber strap wears comfortably and is easy to replace. The overall weight and feel on the wrist communicates quality without heaviness. Retail price sits at approximately $300 to $380. For ISO-certified 200-meter water resistance, solar-powered movement, anti-reflective sapphire crystal, and the kind of build quality that earns the word professional, that pricing is extraordinary. The Citizen Promaster Marine BN0150 is the dive watch you buy when you actually intend to use it, and it will not let you down. Number 1. Seiko Prospex SPB143. The Seiko Prospex SP143, the Turtle. The watch that has been recommended by collectors who own Rolexes, endorsed by divers who have options, and pointed to by enthusiasts as the benchmark answer to the question, what dive watch should I buy first? The answer in 2026 is still this one. The 42mm cushion case that iconic turtle profile that Seiko divers have carried since the 1970s is not a retro affectation. It is a design that has survived decades of use, imitation, and evolution because it simply works. The proportions are right. The case wears larger than its measurements suggest but never overwhelms the wrist. The deep blue sunburst dial paired with the unidirectional blue ceramic bezel insert is one of the most visually coherent color combinations in dive watches at any price. under the dial beats the Seiko 6R35, and this is where the SPB 143 separates itself from everything else on this list. 70 hours of power reserve, hand-winding, hacking. Day and date at 3 o'clock. This movement is not a budget compromise dressed up in a nice case. It is a genuinely capable, class-leading caliber that Seiko deploys in watches far above this price range. 70 hours means Friday night to Monday morning without a second thought. For a watch you rotate, that power reserve changes how you live with it. Water resistance is 200 meters. ISO 645 certified. LumiBright coating on hands and markers delivers genuine low-light readability, not the dim glow that lesser lume applications produce. The silicone strap is included. The stainless steel bracelet is also included. Seiko ships both out of the box without charging extra for either. Read that again. Both straps, included. Standard. The case finishing is meticulous. Brushed surfaces contrast with polished edges in a way that adds visual depth without moving the watch away from its tool watch character. The bezel action is precise and deliberate. The crown screws down with confidence, and the price around $600 to $700.